Hello students. Uh, Yesterday I have told you about change of state and also transfer of heat, process of transfer of heat, in which I have told you three types of process. One was conduction, second was convection, and third was radiation process. Lastly I told you about what is latent heat. Means simple, latent heat was what it was the heat used in while changing the state of the matter, and as at that time temperature is not changes, that's my temperature is constant. So during that phase change only all of the heat energy is used to convert the state of the matter. So that energy is known as, so that heat is energy is known as latent heat, as I told you that yesterday. Let's start and let's see how can we measure how the specific heat or latent heat of any substance. So we can under the process through which we can measure it, that is known as calorimetry, and for which we use a device which or instrument simple which is known as calorimeter, in which there is a copper vessel with the stirrer and a lid. So we can actually obtain that by the process or by the method of mixing the substance with the water. Means with the help of the mixer property we can easily calculate it. Let's see how we can calculate it. Suppose that the substance of which we have to calculate the specific heat, its mass is m2, and the water in the calorimeter is taken, its mass is m1. So before even for doing anything, first we the calorimeter should be washed, pressed, and also neat and clean and simple. It is so to be means we have to take the weight of calorimeter before means in the initial condition, and then we have to add, or we have to fill it with the water. Means half of the its space is filled with the water, and now again we have to take its weight. So suppose simple m1 is the mass of water taken in the calorimeter, m2 is mass of the substance, and initially the temperature of water in the calorimeter is T1, and the temperature of this substance is T2. Clear? So this is the primary thing, and W is the water equivalent of the water. So now what we have to do, we have to mix actually that substance. So before that let's heat that substance in any vessel or in any test tube or where we want to heat it. So after heating it, let's add it in the means mix it in the calorimeter, and means simple we have to mix the heated substance in the water. So as we will mix the heated substance in water, and water is, as water is cold, so definitely there due to temperature difference there will be transfer of heat takes place. That's I think simple. If there is temperature difference, then transfer of heat from hotter body to colder body that will takes place. So some of the heat energy will be transferred to water, and we have to now stir it and we have to mix it. So after mixing and after attaining a constant temperature, note that constant temperature, suppose that temperature is small t. So this is the process of calorimetry. Simple. We have to take substance of which we have to calculate specific heat or latent heat. Now heat in that substance, and in a calorimeter take half it means take a calorimeter with half filled water, and with take its weight also. So and now we have to mix the heated substance into water, and after mixing and after attaining a constant temperature, means when all the heat will be transferred to excess heat will be transferred to water, and finally temperature becomes constant, then that temperature we have to note, that is suppose that is small t. So we can calculate what will be the rise in temperature of water. So as the before mixing temperature of water was T1. So now what will be the rise in temperature of water? That will be T minus T1. Similarly, we can calculate what will be the fall in temperature of the substance. So as before mixing, the temperature of the substance was T2, then now fall in temperature of the substance will be T2 minus T. Clear, I think. So we can calculate, as we know that what is the rise in temperature of water or what is fall in temperature of substance, then we can calculate what is heat gained by the water. As we are mixing the heated substance into water, and water is colder body, so definitely water will gain some heat from it. So how much amount of heat it will gain? As I told you that if from this formula we can easily calculate what will be the heat gained by the water in the case of water equivalent. I told you that. So the M1 is the mass of the water taken and W is the water equivalent. Simple. So after adding this we can easily calculate what will be the total mass of the emitter, and this is the temperature difference or simple rise in the temperature in the calorimeter or simple water. Similarly, we can calculate what will be the heat lost by the substance. As the substance is losing its heat to the water, so we can calculate it by using the theory of simple if S is the specific heat of the substance and how much amount of heat it will lose, that will ms and change in temperature. Clear? It's all the theories I have told you already, water equivalent and specific heat theory, and we can calculate what will be the there is a change in temperature due to specific heat S and mass M and temperature difference. So we can easily calculate it. And in the case of water equivalent, I have told you that it is observed that the heat or simple, actually you don't have to do anything. As we are mixing heated substance to the water, then obviously the loss in the heat of substance will be equal to the heat gained by the water. So obviously we can equate these two quantities, means heat gained by the water will be equal to heat lost by the substance. So finally we can write ms T2 minus T equal to M1 plus W T minus T1. Clear? So from there we can calculate simply value of S, and that value of S will be like this: M1 plus W T minus T1 upon ms T2 minus, means sorry, not S here, M into T2 minus T. Means if we know simple we can measure suppose that here M2 is the, suppose if means simply before mixing the substance, if we know the mass of the substance, mass of the water, water equivalent, and simple temperature in initial conditions and temperature after mixing, then definitely we can calculate by using calorimetry easily what will be the specific heat of the given substance. So in the similar manner we can also calculate latent heat by using the formula. Means simple, I think it's clear to you how can we calculate by using calorimeter what will be the specific heat. So this process is used very frequently to calculate the specific heat of the different substances, and this is very simple process, I think. So if this is clear to you, now let's see the next concept, which is the thermal conduction and thermal conductivity. I told you thermal conduction, what is that? So if there is conduction of heat energy or transfer of heat energy is taken place, means due to transfer of heat energy we can say that there is the conduction of heat is taken place. So what will be the conductivity of heat? We can easily calculate it. If there is conduction, there is transfer of heat is going on, then definitely there will be some conductivity obtained by the, or simple substance must have some conductivity which can pass easily. As you have seen that all the substances, all the solid substances cannot pass its heat from one end to another end. Like see the example of iron rod and example of wood. In case of wood, if we provide heat at one end, then heat cannot go through pass through the conduction to the another end, simply due to heat energy this part burned out. So in means wood is not good conductor of the heat. But in case of rod, iron rod, as you see that when we provide heat energy at one end, then after some time another end heated up automatically, it means that there is conduction of heat energy is taken place. In case of iron, it means that iron is good conductor of heat in the wood. So in the terms of conductivity, we can easily tell that in which solid material heat transfer can takes place easily, and in which solid material heat transfer can't take, or even the conductivity is low or high. So let's see. So the next topic is thermal conductivity. As I've told you that what is the region of thermal conductivity. Means in case of solid, the region of thermal conductivity is conduction. In case of fluids, the region of conductivity will be convection. If we are providing heat energy to the from the bottom of the vessel in which the fluids are containing. But if we provide heat from the to the top surface of the fluid, then in that condition convection will not be possible. In that case, there will be conduction of heat is taken place in the on the surface of the fluid. Means surface molecules will transfer heat energy from one particle to another particle, but there will be no convection current, convection of heat energy in the case of fluid if we are providing heat to the top surface. So keep that things in also mind when convection is possible. So simple heat transfer is now known that. So if conduction of or simple heat transfer is taking place in any body, it means that simple we can say that that body is the good conductor of heat. Means heat is easily passing from it. If heat is not easily passing through any body, then we call that substance or that material is not good conductor of heat. So I think this is now simple to you what is the conduction of substance or conduction of heat. Thermal conductivity, simple. So thermal conductivity means that greater will be the actually it is the measure of the transfer of heat. Means how can we measure if there is greater transfer of heat or there is lower transfer of heat. So that measurement is given by thermal conductivity, the term thermal conductivity, simple. So to calculate what will be the value of thermal conductivity, or simple which quantity, which point can gives us the measurement about the transfer of heat, to that let us suppose that there is a substance and in which there are two phases. Suppose that this phase is C, this phase is D. We are taking only two phases for our calculation, and suppose this phase is hot phase and this is cold phase, and if it has temperature greater in amount delta T than this phase D. So there is the temperature difference delta T. So definitely if there is temperature difference, then there will be transfer of heat take place in the substance. Suppose that this is a substance in which easily heat can pass. So I think I am taking the good conductor of heat here, and also these factors are clear to you now. Suppose the area is here, the area of phase is A, and this is the distance between these two phases delta x. So what will be the rate of conduction of heat? That will be the transfer of heat in time delta t, simple. Suppose that there is transfer of heat delta q in delta t time. So what will be the rate of conduction of heat? That will be simple delta q by delta t. And it is observed experimentally that this rate of conduction of heat delta q by delta t depends upon following factors. Means it is directly proportional to area of the phase. Means greater the area, greater will be the rate of conduction of heat. Obvious. Means suppose that greater will be the area, greater number of molecules will be there. Means greater number of charge, the greater number of carrier of conductor will carrier of heat will be there, and greater will be the thermal rate of conduction of heat. Second factor is that on which it depends on. So rate of conduction current, rate of conduction of heat is directly proportional to temperature difference. Simple. It's also clear that greater will be the temperature difference, greater will be the heat transfer taken place. As there will be equal temperature, then no heat transfer will take place. Greater will be temperature, greater will be the heat transfer, as I told you earlier in this concept. Next is that the rate of conduction of heat is inversely proportional to the distance between the two phases in which transfer of heat is taking place. Means larger will be the distance between two phases, smaller will be the rate of conduction of heat. Suppose that we are taking a rod of iron, and one rod of iron has this length and another rod is of this length. So there will be greater conduction in this rod than this rod. So because according to this simple, if distance between the two phases will be greater, then there will be the less conduction of heat will takes place. So I think these three concepts are clear to you. Means rate of conduction of heat depends on these three factors: area of the phase, and simple second thing is that temperature difference between the two phases, and distance between the two phases. So if we will summarize this observation, then we will get delta Q by delta T will be direct proportional to A delta T upon delta X. Clear? We can remove the proportionality constant, and we will get delta Q by delta T, that will be equal to some constant K delta T upon delta X. This constant K is known as coefficient of thermal conductivity, and it gives us measurement about the transfer of heat. Means greater will be the coefficient of thermal conductivity, greater will be the conduction of heat, greater will be the transfer of heat taken place in that body. Means if we want to measure the transfer of heat, means that will be greater or smaller, then we have to calculate this coefficient of thermal conductivity, which is proportionality constant. Means its value gives us the measurement about the transfer of heat. So this is also called the coefficient of simple thermal conductivity, you can also say it, but the name is coefficient of thermal conductivity. So I think simple it's clear to you. In this factor delta T upon delta X, this is a change in temperature with the distance between any two phases. This is called temperature gradient term. If temperature means a change in temperature with the distance, if we are seeing that, this is called temperature gradient. So from here we can calculate what will be the value of K. That will comes out to be delta Q by delta T upon A delta T by delta X. Means it depends upon the factors. Means it is directly proportional to rate of conduction of heat. Means greater will be the rate of conduction of heat, greater will be the thermal conductivity of the given substance. Larger will be the area of the substance, and smaller will be the conductivity in this case. So I think there is no doubt also. Larger will be the temperature gradient, means smaller will be the thermal conductivity. So upon these three factors, the coefficient of thermal conductivity depends upon, and we can easily calculate it by putting these values in this equation. So I think what is thermal conductivity and how can we measure greater or smaller amount of conductivity of heat, that is now clear to you. So if this concept is clear to you, here one more concept I want to tell you, which is the concept of conduction current. So what is the concept of conduction current? As you have already studied about electrical current. So if any substance is good conductor of electricity, means there are large number of electrons, large number of charge carriers are present, and they are easily passing through any of the conductor or any wire, then we call that it is good conductor of electricity. In the same manner, if all the substances which are good conductor of heat, they are also good conductor of electricity. Simple, as you know that if you provide thermal energy to any bodies, then there will be breaking of covalent bonds will take place, and due to that there will be the number of charge carriers in the body will increase. So if charge carrier will be increased, then definitely there will be the value of current will increase. So there will be the setup of conduction current due to thermal conductivity. Means simple, the materials which are good conductor of heat, which will be good conductor of electricity also. So there will be the concept of thermal conduction current also. Also in this factor we can write one more thing. Let's see that means a concept of thermal resistance. Like in case of electrical circuit, we know that what is the electrical resistance, that is denoted in this term. Similarly, in this term we can also define thermal resistance, means the resistance provided by the molecules or particles in the path of the transfer of heat is known as thermal resistance. So let's see what is its value, and for different materials what will be the or means if we are joining two or more substances, then what will be the their equivalent thermal resistance. So the next topic is as I've told you that what is the thermal resistance. So how can we calculate it? To calculate it, we have the formula rate of conduction of heat is equal to this term. So in this term we can write delta T upon delta X upon Ka, we can write it. Or here this term delta X upon Ka can be written by another term RH. This RH is known as the thermal resistance of the material in case of thermal conductivity. This is the same as the as we obtained in case of electrical resistance, which is I equal to V by R. I equal to rate of change, rate of flow of charge, and that is the electrical current, and this is rate of flow of simple heat. And this means these two equations are analogous to each other. So this term is analogous to also the term resistivity, not resistivity, resistance in the substances or simple substances which have thermal conductivity, which will have also some resistance, and the value of that resistance will be RH will be delta X upon Ka. So I think this is simple, clear to you what will be the value of thermal resistance in this case. And as I told you, what is the thermal resistance? Obviously, if there will be greater conductivity, means we are providing greater thermal energy, then there will be greater kinetic energy in the substances, and they will collide frequently, and that's why there will be the some resistance they will offer, and that resistance is called thermal resistance. And its value depends upon the factor, means thermal resistances are directly proportional to the distance between two phases. Means greater will be the distance, greater will be the thermal resistance, means they will resist the flow of heat. So that's why in greater distance heat cannot flow to the one end to another end. It will stop due to thermal resistance, because that energy will be used to overcome the resistance provided by the materials, molecules of the materials. Okay. Similarly, obviously there, if greater will be the thermal resistance, then smaller will be thermal conductivity, means because there is less conduction of heat due to thermal resistance, as the heat energy is used to overcome this resistance of the molecules. And also if greater will be the area, less will be the thermal resistance. Means in greater area molecules will get greater space to vibrate, so that's why they will not collide frequently, that's why they will offer less resistance. So they have inversely proportional relationship. So I think this is simple, clear to you what is the concept of thermal resistance. Means if any substance have greater thermal resistance, then that substance will have greater insulating property to the heat, means that will have better insulation of heat, and obviously the thermal conductivity of that material will be low. So according to, with the help of this definition, there are a lot of application we can use. Means we can easily construct the thermoflask and thermomax bottles and other things. Means the thermal insulator, means जो on the body which are insulating, or the material which are insulating, means they have good insulation for the heat, conduction of heat. So if there will be less conduction of heat, then the liquid or some foods can be preserved in the in that types of vessel. So with the help of the knowledge of thermal resistivity or thermal conductivity, we can easily use it in the various production of the substances. The next concept is that, suppose that in this reason, if there are 2 or 3 substances which are joined together, and suppose that the 3 substances have different thermal resistance RH1, RH2, RH3. For example, suppose that only 2 substances are here for a simple calculation. Okay, and they have thermal conductivity K1, K2. They have this distance between the phases, and that is delta X. Okay, clear? Suppose that the area of phases are the same, means substances are of the same type, so their area is same. So we can easily calculate what will be the equivalent thermal conductivity. As suppose that the 2 substances are joined in series. So if they are joined in series, as you know that in series the equivalent resistance, suppose that the resistance of this combination is RH. So definitely in series resistance will be RH1 plus RH2, because it is analogous to thermal resistance, electrical resistance. So there, that property will be also applicable here. So with the help of this, we can write from here delta X upon Ka. Suppose that the distance between 2 phases now in the case of combination is delta X, and thermal conductivity of the new material is K, and area is Ca. So that will be delta X1 upon K1A plus delta X2 upon K2A. So finally we can write delta X upon K equal to delta X1 upon K1 plus delta X2 upon K2. Clear? So through means if 2 substances are joined in series, then their equivalent thermal conductivity can be calculated in this manner. Suppose that if they the both are of the same length, so if they are of the same length, then what will be the thermal conductivity? So thermal conductivity will be in this case, suppose that the length is L. So obviously after joining them, after connecting them in series, the total length will be delta X will be 2L upon K. That will be equal to L by K1 plus L by K2. So from here we can obtain 2 by K equal to 1 upon K1 plus 1 by K2. Simply if both the substances are of the same length, then through this formula we can easily calculate what will be the equivalent thermal conductivity or thermal conductivity of the material when we joined 2 substances of different thermal conductivities in series. Similarly, we can calculate if we join it in the in parallel form, then we can calculate conductivity of the simple thermal conductivity of the combination of substances. So in case of parallel combination, suppose that the 2 substances are joined parallel, means in parallel combination. So as you know that in parallel combination, what is the equivalent resistance? The value of equivalent resistance is this 1 upon R equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. Clear? So as you know, we have the formula for the RH, and that is delta X upon Ka. So from here we can write what will be the value of it. So the value of it will be Ka upon delta X1 equal to K1A upon, sorry, not delta x1, delta x, delta x1 plus K2A upon delta x2. Clear? Or we can solve it, the value of K will be simple, K equal to delta x K1 upon delta x1 plus K2 upon delta x2. This will gives us the final simple thermal conductivity of the combination of two substances if they are joined in parallel. So we can easily calculate what will be the thermal conductivity of the combination of the substances by using this concept. If we know the thermal, if only we know the thermal conductivity, individual thermal conductivity of the different substances and their the distance between their phases, so we can easily calculate what will be the thermal conductivity of the combination. Suppose again in case if we take a case, if length of the two substances are same, means delta x1 equal to delta x2 equal to, suppose that L. So what will be the value of K? So obviously delta x will be 2L, and actually they are joining in the parallel form, so it should not be 2L, should be L by 2. Okay, so here will be K1 upon L plus K2 upon L. Finally we will get K1 plus K2 by 2, the value of this. Clear? Means if we joined it in the case of parallel combination, then effective length will be delta L by 2, and we can solve it and we can get what will be the value of combination of such types of substances which have thermal conductivity K1, K2 and they are of the same length and of the same area. Then what will be the thermal conductivity of combination? That will be simply K1 plus K2 by 2. So we can calculate easily what will be the thermal conductivity of the combination. So I think all these concepts about the thermal conductivity are now clear to you, simple. If the value of thermal conductivity is high, it means that in all those substances heat can easily pass, and if heat can pass, then thermal insulation will be in that case will be smaller, and thermal resistance will be smaller, and that types of material can be used where we need high thermal conductivity. Means with the knowledge of the thermal conductivity, we can easily distinguish, we can easily differentiate materials of high thermal conductivity and low thermal conductivity, and we can use according to our need. Means the material which have greater thermal conductivity, then that can be used for heat conduction, and the material which have smaller thermal conductivity, means they can be used to make the materials for thermal insulation. So we can easily use the materials with the help of the knowledge of thermal conductivity. So I think the application and the knowledge is now about the thermal conductivity is clear to you. So let's end the class today here. In next day we will start some topic, means radiation of heat. We will start it, and in that case we will study about black body radiation and other things. So for today